Welcome back, everybody, to your three-man booth pre-NFL 2021 season. Van Salem with Phil and Bud. We're going to talk worst to first, and then we'll talk first to worst. Both things happen every year, but I'm going to list the teams that finished in worst last place last season, and then we're going to tell you which one will be a division champion and in the playoffs this year. All right, you guys ready?
Let's go.
Okay, so there are the New York Jets. Yeah. The Cincinnati Bengals, the Jacksonville Jaguars, the Denver Broncos, Philadelphia Eagles, the Detroit Lions, the Atlanta Falcons, and the San Francisco 49ers. One of those teams is going to win their division.
Now, are we doing fantasy or real life here? Because if we're doing fantasy, I mean, you can pick any of them. If you're doing real life, I think the only legitimate possible one is San Francisco.
I agree.
I mean, Atlanta's not going to overtake Tampa Bay. Detroit's not to overtaking any of the three in their division. I can't listen. Call me biased or not. I don't see Philly winning the division. Yes, I know they could, but they're not going to.
San Francisco being good is realistic, but them beating both the Seahawks and the Rams feels like a tough ask for a team with a rookie quarterback that they do want to work into the mix.
He's not going to play. I'm telling you right now, he's not going to play. He's only played 18 football games in his career,
and one last year total.
Right. So I mean, if Jimmy Garoppolo can play, listen, they made the Super Bowl with Jimmy Garoppolo. People seem to all of a sudden forget about that, right? They were a good defense, and last year they were a shell of a defense because most of their starters got hurt. I mean, that one game against the Jets, they lost 3 starters for weeks and weeks, and 2 of them tore ACLs, and they were gone for the whole year.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, that's what they blamed it on the turf.
Right.
Exactly. So the only team that we're talking about is San Francisco, and I agree with you, Dan, that's probably a stretch because Seattle is going to be good. The Rams, I picked the Rams to be in the Super Bowl. So Kyler Murray was 8-8, and they probably should have made the playoffs last year, if not for the last 4 games of last year where they kind of basically collapsed.
Yeah.
But in the whole scheme of things, if we're just debating this scenario, the only team that works is San Francisco. The Jets are not going to. No. Atlanta's not going to be good. Their defense is terrible.
So I'm not going to pick the 49ers because I don't think that they can overtake the Rams and the Seahawks both. And also, they lost a lot of their coaching staff who now are members of the New York Jets. I am eliminating the entire AFC from this conversation. None of those teams are winning their divisions. It's the top teams are too strong. The NFC East is literally up for grabs, and so is the NFC South. But if I'm picking one team, I am picking the Philadelphia Eagles because that was the worst division in football last year, and all they had to do last year was win 8 games to win that division. So the Eagles, while they were terrible, they have a second-year quarterback who everyone agrees is kind of good, kind of okay. We don't know what to expect from them. So the Eagles don't have to go very high to win. So if I'm picking a team, I'm picking the Eagles.
I can't argue with that. It's the only one that I would want to pick. Like if Kansas City didn't have Mahomes, I think Denver would be able to be one of those teams. Now, is it going to be Drew Lock and Teddy Bridgewater? We don't know yet. But their Denver defense with Von Miller and all those guys back is going to be really good. But you're not going to overtake Kansas City. I heard you say it. Maybe you misspoke that the NFC South was up for grabs. I think the defending Super Bowl champions are still residing in that.
Everything went right for the Buccaneers last season. They had so few injuries. Tom Brady got hot at the end of the season, and they are good, but they're old, and it scares me.
We sort of all are on the same page. All right, let's do the other way because I think that's a little more fascinating to work.
You want me to read off the number 1 teams from last season? Okay.
Let's do it.
So the Buffalo Bills, the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Tennessee Titans, the Kansas City Chiefs, the Washington team, Green Bay Packers, New Orleans Saints, and Seattle Seahawks. 3 legit contenders in here.
I think I agree with you. I think it's New Orleans is the obvious choice, but let's take them out of the mix. Let's take the chalk out.
Yeah.
I would go with Pittsburgh. I think Pittsburgh's going to fall flat in their face. Offensive line has been talked about being one of the worst in the league right now. They had no run game last year. It didn't really get any better. You have a rookie running back.
I don't know how the Steelers won 12 games last season. I don't know.
They went 11-0. Remember
they were 11-0. That's how they won 12 games. Chalk aside, I would definitely go Pittsburgh.
A sleeper pick to go worst to first if Burrow wasn't hurt is the Bengals. I know they have to get by the Ravens, but that could be a good football team.
Oh, they have to get by Cleveland.
Oh, Cleveland too. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, but you know what? Don't sleep on Cincinnati. I mean, if their offensive line is terrible, their defense is kind of middle of the road. I mean, at best, but they probably have the 3 best wide receivers.
Could you make a case that Buffalo, everything went right last year? Everything. Allen overachieved. Stephon Diggs had a monster season. I mean, you can make a case that was the peak.
Their defense is too good to fall down to worst, though.
I agree.
Like,
And their offense, if they're clicking,
the Patriots got better. The Jets got better, and Miami may have just tread water, but everybody seems to have gotten better around them as well.
Yeah, the Patriots. I'm sorry, Dan, not to cut you off, but the Patriots are only going to go as far as Cam Newton's going to go, and I'm telling you, the leash is going to be very, very short. I don't even know if Cam Newton's actually going to start the season.
I tend to agree with you, but I'm not sure that the Patriots are markedly better. But even a bad Buffalo season should be 8 or 9 wins. I mean, it's hard to see them doing much worse than that.
8 or 9 wins might not win that division, though. I mean, if Tua plays to the caliber of what they think that he's going to be, I particularly don't think so. At least 11 games to win the AFC East, at least.
I'm going to go back to the NFC East. Washington won 7 games last year. They are presumably a good football team, but so the Giants are better. The Cowboys are healthy. I mean, all they got to do is follow Philadelphia.
Listen, before Dak got hurt last year, he was on pace to throw for 7,000 yards.
Well, do you know why? Because they had no.
I know why, Phil. Don't be a hater. All I'm saying is that all I'm saying is that their offense is good enough to outscore everybody, regardless of how bad their defense plays. They could easily win 42-38 football games, and you know that's possible. If their offense is clicking, they're gonna go places.
But I'm saying the only reason they had to do that is because they were down 20 points in the third quarter. They had no choice.
Phil, Dak is really good when healthy. You're just gonna have to accept that.
No, I'm not doubting that. I'm just saying that there's rumblings that his shoulder isn't 100%.
You're such a hater, dude. Oh my.
So I think that he would play through the injury and be decent. The real question is whether Zeke is going to continue to decline, because he's been declining. He had a stellar start to his career, but running backs fall off a cliff. They can't sustain it forever. I mean, I'm hoping Barkley returns from his injury as strong as he entered it.
By the way, Barkley is fine. He may not play 25 snaps week 1. Barkley's fine. Joe Judge comes from the Bill Belichick, don't say a goddamn thing to anybody mentality.
No, right. Well, and you give it to the hot hand. I mean, as a rookie or a sophomore running back, that's your bread and butter. Or sometimes these guys come in 3-4 years later, get their opportunity and shine, but you can't base your offense around a running back anymore for more than a year or two.
That's a pretty bold guess, Dan. I mean, the reason why he didn't have a great year last year is they had no quarterback play. So they knew that they were just going to hand the ball off to Zeke, and they were just loading the box.
They had Andy Dalton.
Yeah, Andy, dude, let's not compare Andy Dalton to Dak Prescott. I mean, you're Andy Dalton.
So
for the entire offseason, Chicago said Andy Dalton's our quarterback. They watched Justin Fields play one preseason game, and the coach goes, "You know what? We're going to do what's best for the Bears." Andy Dalton ain't playing, dude.
He's going to start week 1.
He still thinks he's the starter. Yeah,
he will. Andy Dalton will start week 1.
All right. So speaking of preseason, the Jets and Packers are going to meet, and the brothers are on the sidelines joking. Aaron Rodgers is talking to Zach Wilson. But does this excite you at all?
I watched because I'm a glutton and I have nothing else to do with my life. I watched the entire preseason game against the Giants, and it's completely unwatchable. I don't even know why anybody watches preseason football. I was impressed with Zach Wilson's arm strength. It is the ball. The camera had trouble following the ball. Like, that excites me. It excites me that we might have a quarterback. As much as I love Chad Pennington, he's like my man crush. He had no arm strength, right? It basically killed Wayne Corbett.
Yeah. If
this guy can throw the ball the way that he says that he is, I'm hopeful.
I was excited that Aaron Rodgers was chatting with Zach Wilson, because if anything rubs off, that's positive.
That is positive. I agree with you. The Jets-Giants game got a huge rating. I don't know why.
People are clamoring.
You could not watch more than 10 minutes of that game unless you were drunk, which, by the way, I was. That's the only reason why I watched that whole game.
Yeah, I watched.
We've also been without football for 7 months, so that's probably why.
We got
Exciting
the Snoopy,
about that game.
we got the Snoopy Bowl trophy. That's important.
Who cares?
Only Rex Ryan cared about that.
Yes. Do you guys think Josh Rosen's going to find himself a team?
No.
Done.
So 4 out of 5 is pretty good from that draft, though, right? 4 out of 5 guys are still starting.
And I know we talked about this last week. Nothing would surprise me if Sam goes out and has a great year and he throws for 28, 30 touchdowns and a few interceptions and he's spreading the ball out. I mean, that would not surprise me.
The only bad pick was to pick Rosen, and then the Cardinals immediately realized they made a mistake and went and got Murray the next year. So,
but he couldn't even keep a third string job with San Francisco. Like, he's done. Like, he's done. If you're not even talented enough to hold the clipboard and not even put on pads, you should probably figure out what your next career is going to be.
Let's put you on the spot next week where you say, okay, I'm going to bet this much each week on this many games, and we'll follow along how you do, and hopefully we'll help you win some money so you can take your wife out to dinner.
Hopefully we won't get knocked out of Survivor during week 1 again.
Ooh.
If you want to go, obviously chalk and bet against the Texans, that's fine too. I actually have to see who they're even playing to see. Oh, they're playing the Jaguars. Never mind, we're not touching that game.
No,
Yeah, don't touch that game.
that's a mess of a
We're
game.
not touching that one. The one that jumps out at me is Packers -3 over the Saints. That's the one that stands out to me right now. That my mind might change, but that's the one that I would.
I don't know, dude. That's a tough one too.
There's a lot of like iffy, could go 50-50 games here. Like week 1 might be tough, but we got to pick something. We'll figure it out as we go along.
Okay, very good.
Who do the Colts play, Phil?
Oh,
The Colts. I think the Colts play the Seahawks. But Carson,
Yeah, don't touch that game either.
Yeah, we learned our lesson.
yeah. Well, I pick against
I
them.
can't believe we lost that game. I still can't believe it.
It's the only game Jacksonville won all year, and we
Incredible.
lost the first week of the year.
We are almost there.
Oh, football's back.